Hey guys, what's up? I'm Mike James, and today I want to talk to you guys about my Change for Good formula and how you can apply it to your life in order to get motivated, right? And I don't like motivation, it's not a great word, but it's how you can use the Change for Good formula in order to reach your new potential goals that you want, whether it be in health, wealth, and happiness. Whatever it is that it's 4 things that it takes in order to make it sustainable for change for good, right? So those 4 things are awareness, acknowledgement, execution, and consistency. Now, one of the reasons why it's really important to understand these 4 steps is they're also chronological, right? You can't get to A, or we can't get to D without going through A, B, and C, right? The first step is awareness, right? Awareness is something that everybody overlooks all the time, right? So you can have, everybody has that friend, right? Let's take it into a positive mindset way, right? Is where everybody has that person who always comes to you with all their problems, right? And do you ever wonder why that becomes annoying over the time when you hear someone who's constantly pessimistic, someone who's constantly always negative? The reason why that becomes annoying to you, right? Or you just become a little bit impatient, because I know people don't like the word annoying, but it's because you hear what the person say their problem is, and especially if you're a person who's a problem solver, if you hear someone's problem and they don't get it, and especially when there's an expiration date on advice, right? It's the same reason why mentors, especially if you're not paying them, they lose interest in you because they're giving you valuable information, right? So someone can give you the keys to the vehicle that can get you out of your slump, and you can completely overlook it because you lack awareness, right? It could be like your body when it comes to your health, right? You have these check engine lights, right? These little idiot lights, like in a car, that they call them symptoms, that are things that you need to be aware of to realize that your health is on the decline, right? Your sleep could be one, your loss of appetite could be one, chronic pain is another one, and there's things that you have to look into, right? And I know on the internet now you have these influencers that give you these one-size-fits-all and miracle pill prescriptions with catches and hooks in 30 and 7-second videos. But realistically, you're gonna have to take a deeper look into things. And that's where it comes to having awareness, right? What I'm trying to get at when it comes to actually making changes, you gotta have awareness, right? And you have to have it. There's no exception. You can't change anything if you're not aware that it needs to be changed. That's why this is the first step in the Change for Good formula, right? So let's think about awareness, right? It could be like, you have to be aware that if you're completely getting hit with overdraft fees, you're struggling with bills every day, you have these financial goals that you're never meeting, right? When are you going to have the awareness that something has to change, right? Now, this isn't a criticism. This is logic that if something, in order for something to change, something has to change, right? If you're constantly behind on bills, the money is not adding up, you're going to have to address that. Maybe, are you underpaid? Are you in the wrong career? Do you need to get a second job, right? Do you need to cut back on something? These are those things, right? Same thing with your health. I'm not getting sleep. Do I need to go to bed early? Am I properly hydrated? Should I start exercising? The answer is yes to that. But should I start exercising? And what else is it that you actually should be doing to focus on awareness, right? Once you identify what your problem is, now you can start making a plan around it, right? That's awareness. You're aware of it. Now when it comes to making a plan, this is where the second part of the Change for Good formula comes in, and that's acknowledgement, right? Acknowledgement, it says, I originally had wanted it to be accountability, but I think it's an overused word, especially in the self-help space, is that accountability, everyone's saying accountability, but I'm also a person who believes that something is cliche because it's true, right? But for the sake of this video and the sake of my formula, we're gonna go with acknowledgement, right? Now that you acknowledged what it is that you actually want to work on, right? You have to devise a plan around it, right? So now, the thing about this, and this is where it becomes sustainable change, is because now that you have the awareness, right? You don't deviate from that. Because the only thing you're aware of is the problem that you need to fix, right? And there's going to be shiny objects, there's going to be events, there's going to be meals, there's going to be videos you see on the internet, countless amounts of suggestive selling from emails and things like that. Someone knocks on your door, someone calls you up, haven't spoken to a long time. All of those things are going to try to knock you off your square, but you have to stay focused on what your actual goal is and acknowledge it, right? So when it comes to acknowledgement, right, the first thing, like, there's this thing called the Pareto principle, right? The Pareto principle is based on that 20% of the actions you do, no, 80% of the results come from 20% of the actions that you take. And I may have gotten that backwards, but for the sake of the video, we're going to keep going on with it. The Pareto principle is that you need to find out what is your 20% actions that can get you towards your goal, right? So when you think about that, don't think about how little time you have to exercise or how little of funds you have, how much time you don't have to pick up a second job, and how you got the kids' sports and all this other stuff that you have to do. What you need to decide while you're making your plan, especially if it's financial, is first, what is your number, right? What is your end game? What is your long-term goal that you want to do somewhere down the road that eventually you're going to think about, like, I'm going to be able to create these little mini milestones that's going to help me keep my motivation towards my long-term goal. This is what you need to start looking at while you're doing stuff like this, right? And I do this all the time, and it's really important that you understand that when it comes to long-term goals, right, you're acknowledging the thing you're aware of. I want to pick one to niche down, like, so that way I can make my thing clear. Let's talk about personal finances and goals, right? Let's just say that you want to buy a house, right? And now I know in real estate there's many nuances, right? But I'll tell you one thing. When you have a plan, right, and especially with me being an investor, right, as long as you have a plan, whenever something comes up, if there's an opportunity to take, because you've already started on your plan, you're closer to it if you never had a plan anyway. I just want to start off with that, right? So anyhow, it's when it comes to what is it that you need to get the down payment on the house, right? So they say this 20% is what you need to put down on a mortgage, right? And it's to avoid an insurance, PMI, I'm sorry. And then if you put the 20% down, right? So now you need to come up, what's 20%, right? And this is why in real estate, most realtors don't want to show you a property until you get pre-approved, because what's the point of showing someone a house for $700,000 when they're really only approved for $300,000 and there's no way they're going to buy that house anyway? It's not just about the money, it's just what's the point of wasting your time by looking at something that you don't even have a loan approval for to get anyway, right? But anyhow, that's neither here nor there. Let's just say that for financial purposes, we're trying to get a 20% down payment, right? So what you would have to do is you would have to start with your own personal finances, right? You have to, now you have a goal. I need 20% on a down payment, right? But that's why you have to go to the pre-approval process, right? So then let's just say roughly, and something that I like to do, and this is not financial advice, this is not helping you buy a home. I'm doing this in order for you to understand how you can actually devise a plan towards getting towards your goals in whatever way, right? So, and I'm just using the house as let's say you're at 20%, right? And of course you need to be pre-approved, but let's say that you just want to get started on saving money, right? And the good news about that is when they go back to check your bank statements and you have your finances in order, it's going to look a lot better when you get that pre-approval, right? So, because you want money coming in. First thing you need to do is find out how are you going to save this money, right? And that's just going to take basic personal finances, right? So you would have to start looking at your budget, and you need to open up your checking account, your banking app, and look at a monthly statement and just look at that number, right? And this is not financial advice. I'm not even doing this to give you financial advice. I'm just saying that this is the kind of clarity that you need when you're getting a plan. You need to know how much money you're spending, right? How much money you're making, because you need to know what are your goals that you have to absolutely, what is the bills that you have to pay in order to sustain your lifestyle, right? Not the weekend getaways, not the going to the movies and entertainment and stuff like that. And it's important. I personally believe streaming services are relevant because it's going to keep you happy at home, right? And maybe you just need one, right? But what you need to do is find out how you're going to get to that 20%, right? Let's say that you looked at your finances, right? And you realized that there's no way I'm going to get here with the job that I have. The great news to that is that now you realize that you have a capital issue. You need to find a way to raise more capital to reach that 20% goal, right? So you don't have to quit your job and find a new one, right? In the age of information and all this digital technology, wherever you're watching this video at, you have to understand that one of the things that's most important is that you have the opportunity to either work remotely if you have a connection with Wi-Fi. That's why one of the bills that you may need to know, your cell phone and your Wi-Fi are two of the most important bills because that gives you the opportunity to make more money, right? So now we have the acknowledgement and we're getting that 20% and we're devising the plan, right? Then what you're gonna have to realize is that one of the things that I think is important is that you have to iron out a schedule, right? You have to make time for the things that you want. Every day you need to look at your finances and see what you did that day, right? What did I do today to move towards my goal, right? And it's the most important thing ever. Is what did I do? The best way to eat an elephant is to take one bite at a time, right? So is what did I do today in order to increase my chances towards getting to my goals? This is in the acknowledgement stage, right? So every day you have to look at what is it that I could do to reach my goal of getting that 20%, right? Let's say you're at work, right? And you have a job that pays hourly, right? And so you already know that the hours that you work, there's no way you're going to make more money than the time that you were there, right? So you're going to have to find a way to make money outside of that. That's where you use things like eBay, Facebook Marketplace, whatever it is, you find a way to make extra money. You sell some clothes that you have, right? And you don't want to part ways because if your goal is just to have a closet full of clothes, that's easy. Stay where you're at. That's acknowledging that your actual true happiness is just having a closet full of clothes, right? Or is your true goal, your long-term vision, right? Is to have a home that you can put your clothes into and then build, right? The first step should be to have the home, in my opinion. Clothes are easy to get. Fashion changes every year. But once you get your house and you get your money right, you'll be able to buy all the clothes you want. Maybe you'll find a new side hustle, right? Now that you found all that, the next thing that you would have to do is now that we acknowledge that, hey, we have a plan on how to get this 20% down payment, right? So now we have to execute, right? Execution is simple. It goes right back to the tail end of the acknowledgement thing. What do I have to do every day in order to get to my goal, right? You got to find a way to make $100 extra a day, right? Easier said than done. I bet somebody says it's really not that hard, but like it's going to require work. It's not easy. It's just not that hard. And you got to find a way to make an extra $100 a day. Extra $100 a day will get you $3,600 and $500, $36,500, like what is it, $3,650,000 a year, right? So that's $3,000, right? On top of, so you'll be able to save in a year, right? So this is a long-term goal. Think about it. Everyone thinks that, oh, that's such a long way away, right? But imagine a year from now that you have $3,600 in extra spending cash, right? You have to start executing your goals. And lastly, right, because I want to wrap this up, I don't want this to be too long, I want to keep it under 15 minutes, is consistency, right? Wash, rinse, and repeat. When it comes to being consistent and doing the things that you know that you need to do, one of the most important things that you could be is consistent. And that's how you get change for good, is through consistency. Well, guys, if this is helpful for you guys and you like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button and be sure to like and share this with somebody who wants to have sustainable change for good.